At its height, use of the Iran election hashtag reached over 200,000 tweets per hour. I was drawn to one user of the hashtag, Dominique Rodier, as a case study because she's one of the most prolific users of the hashtag. Also, she tweets in English, French, and Persian, which I immediately understood as one tweeter constructing multiple audiences, opening up to vast potential political and geographical publics. Coding a sample of 100 of Dominique's tweets collected on the day of particularly active political unrest, I found that 80 of her tweets were retweets, and 18 were multiple retweets, or retweeted content that she had retweeted from someone else. Just 2 were instances of Dominique communicating directly with her followers. Dominique's main mode of participating in this Iranian election protest public is through the sheer force of circulating other people's materials. She circulates materials of those who may have smaller networks than she does, and by doing so, she becomes a credible source. Citing a news article of a hunger strike, linking to a Facebook page in support of an incarcerated Iranian blogger, and sharing videos of the same hunger strikes, circulation of what's happening in the movement is one of the major advantages of Twitter for this particular public. Publics connect to publics connect to publics until you have a graduate student in New York, it's me, tapping into the power of Twitter toward the cause of Iranian democracy. Circulation is, however, only one of the public building strategies used within the Twitter interface. Manic77, or Manny, is one of Dominique's most relied upon sources. This last tweet regarding the hunger protests is one of his, in fact. As you can see, she kept the original tweet verbatim, adding only the convention's RT and his username to indicate him as the source. Unlike Dominique, in my coded sample, Manny retweeted only 2 out of 100 tweets. He had @reply engagement, where he's communicating with specific followers, 14 times, and 84 tweets were updates without RT or @reply symbols, which indicates original content sharing. 37 tweets included direct links to other media. What's important here is that Twitter has the ability to aggregate different sources toward the same goal. Rather than having to go to a variety of resources individually, like BBC, YouTube, ILNA, or Tehran Daily, we can rely on others who have aggregated content already toward a specific ideological mission, and we can contribute to that mission as well through the content we choose to share. That is, the value of Twitter as a public is that it allows people to orchestrate a political community through the sharing of ideological materials, including various media, such as blogs, video, pictures, and print. In this tweet, for instance, Manny shares an image promoting the cause of the movement, whereas in the previous tweet he shares a video that describes hunger strikes with images, video footage, text, and a moving soundtrack. Tweets that did not include media are primarily updates in which Manny is presenting himself with a local ethos by describing events that are happening that he is apparently witnessing. On this particular day, Manny describes plainclothes police scattering demonstrators and describes the participants as students and women in the next tweet. We can watch him orchestrating an on-the-ground public, both directing and informing locals. But these tweets are also providing citizen-created, unconstrained, unpolitically sanctioned accounts of what the security forces and the state are doing. In one moment, this information is being broadcast to Manny's 1,800 followers and to Dominique's 2,300 followers as she retweets him. Here we have French, English, and Persian audiences around the world becoming aware of the problem, the struggle, and up-to-the-minute events, which ultimately implicates a global public in the protest. Through the use of multiple aggregated ideological media in one very accessible 140-character space, people become aware of and can participate in a political movement. Reflecting on the use of Twitter in the Iranian election protests as a site for sustained building of global publics, I have found that in ignoring sites as social media as spaces for public writing, we would lose out on questions of who has access to the work of a social movement, and the possibility of not going it alone. If we pay attention, we can watch the process of Iranians using Twitter to legitimate digital media as a form of resistance against the state. The ability to protest is in many ways a matter of both access and self-interest. Not everyone has the ability to take the risks necessary for in-person protest. We can't dismiss any place that serves as a platform or forum for people whose voices are not being heard by the state and private sectors. We can't take away from people any space that has been earned. While access to Twitter and mobile technologies may be a class privilege, we should consider the middle-class mother of 5 who cannot risk being arrested and beaten in the streets. There are different types of access, and privileging any one kind of public engagement, even the physical public, keeps us from recognizing the power of other publics, including digitized ones. Ideological results already happen based on digital public writing, and so we need to understand and cultivate our rhetorical skills in those spaces in order to work toward a more just and equitable world. Writing studies is beginning to globalize. Understanding non-legitimized spaces and how writing is effective and powerful and meaningful in those spaces, writing studies is poised for revolutionizing the way we conceive of writing as a means to access to power. As our field moves from composition studies to writing studies, and we begin to broaden our conception of what it means to write and how writing is connected to power, understanding how people use digital writing spaces to resist power is just as important as learning how people effectively compose a cover letter. It's about access. Students need time to see and investigate these examples and the power of these mediums as effective public engagement. Understanding the ways that people create, work for, fight for access to a global digital public in times of political constraint will ultimately reward us as writing teachers and as scholars of writing studies to understand how people can fight against oppression and political tyranny, and to help our students do the same. Thank you very much.